I just wanted to take a quiet walk, but I had no idea that I would be the one making the most noise. Being alone in the calmness of nature, deep in the forest, was my escape, my way of clearing my mind from the chaos of everyday life. The fresh air filled my lungs, bringing me peace, and I had no clue that my life was about to change completely that day. As I rounded a bend, I saw him, a tall, dark, and imposing figure with broad shoulders and an upright posture. There was something about the way he carried himself, a quiet confidence that seemed to fill the space around him. His eyes locked onto mine, and for a brief moment, time stood still. "I didn't expect to meet anyone here," he said. "Neither did I replied with a slight smile, though inside I was caught in a whirlwind of emotions. "Do you mind if I join you?" he asked. I hesitated for a second, but something inside me, a strange sense of courage, pushed me forward. "Sure," I said, trying to keep my voice steady. We started walking side by side, our steps naturally falling into sync. Even the silence between us carried a meaning, an unspoken understanding that neither of us questioned. We reached a small clearing where the sunlight filtered through the trees, casting golden rays on the ground. The air felt different, charged with something I couldn't quite explain. His gaze locked onto mine, darker and deeper this time, filled with an intensity that made my heartbeat quicken. "You're different," he said, his voice low and sincere. "There's something about you that draws me in." With those words, he took a step toward me, closing the space between us. He reached out, gently brushing a strand of hair from my face. His touch sent a jolt through my body, like an unexpected spark of electricity. His fingers lingered on my cheek for just a moment, and I felt my breath catch in my throat. He stepped even closer, his presence overwhelming, his breath warm against my skin. "You are so beautiful," he whispered. Before I could respond, a sudden rustling sound in the bushes nearby made us both turn our heads. The moment was interrupted, but the tension between us remained. I glanced at him, and we shared a knowing look. This wasn't over. Curious, I stepped closer to where the sound had come from, peering through the trees. A deer, startled by our presence, leaped gracefully into the distance. I exhaled a breath I hadn't realized I was holding. He chuckled. "Looks like we're not the only ones enjoying the forest today." I laughed softly, the moment easing into something more comfortable. We continued walking, deeper into the woods, talking about life, the things we'd lost, and the things we were still searching for. His words carried a weight, as if he too had been carrying burdens he hadn't shared with anyone before. After a while, we stumbled upon an abandoned wooden cabin, half hidden by ivy and thyme. It looked like something out of a forgotten story, its weathered walls standing resiliently despite the years. My curiosity got the better of me. "Do you think anyone still comes here?" I asked. He ran his fingers along the worn door frame. "Doubt it. But it's kind of beautiful in a way, don't you think?" I nodded. "It feels like a piece of history frozen in time." The door creaked as he gently pushed it open. Inside, dust particles danced in the sunlight that streamed through the broken windows. There was an old fireplace, a few scattered pieces of forgotten furniture, and a quiet stillness that made the place feel untouched for years. He turned to me, a soft smile playing on his lips. "Come on, let's sit for a while." We settled on the floor near the fireplace, the scent of aged wood surrounding us. The silence between us was no longer tense but comfortable, like two souls who had found an unexpected connection in the middle of nowhere. I turned to him, taking in the sharp angles of his face, the way his eyes held something unspoken. "Why were you out here alone?" His expression shifted slightly, a flicker of something vulnerable crossing his face before he answered. "Sometimes, you just need to get away from everything. Out here, it's quiet. No distractions, no expectations, just peace." I nodded, understanding more than he probably realized. I feel the same way. He reached for my hand, his fingers brushing against mine as if testing the waters of something neither of us could quite define. I didn't pull away. "You make the silence feel less lonely," he admitted, his voice barely above a whisper. A warmth spread through me, unexpected yet welcome. There, in the forgotten cabin, surrounded by the whispers of the forest, I knew this moment would stay with me forever. As the sun dipped lower behind the trees, the golden light casting long shadows, I knew this was a moment I would never forget. Later, as we sat together in the quiet of the forest, the only sound between us was the gentle rustling of the leaves. I looked into his face, memorizing every detail, knowing that this moment had changed everything, and we would never be the same. Share your thoughts in the comments. Don't forget to subscribe to Infidelity Stories for more stories.